All right, man, so if you just want to start off by telling us your name and a little bit about the booth you have here today.
Yeah, my name is Mark Wettreich. I'm a director of Greenbank Capital Inc., which is the first public company that is investing in the Bitcoin space. And we have a booth here for no other reason because Bitcoin is an asset class. So we feel like we have the right to be here along with all the mining companies.
Did you say you're the first public Bitcoin company?
Yeah, we are the very first public company to invest in Bitcoin, period, which is big for a number of reasons. I mean, first of all, there's a certain element of liquidity that's involved with any public company investment. People can buy and sell the stock freely. And secondly, since we're investing both in Bitcoin, the medium, and also Bitcoin startup companies, by investing in our one company, you actually have the ability to have a diversified portfolio instantly. So.
Now, you also have a couple of subsidiary companies who are going to be potentially going public as well. Who are they?
Yes, we have two subsidiaries that we formed in December. One is called Bitcoin Canada Investments, and that company is going to be investing exclusively in Bitcoin the medium, which, you know, this is the chart of Bitcoin the medium. This is what it's done. And then we have Bitcoin Angel Capital, which is going to be investing in Bitcoin startup companies. Anyone with a very good business plan who has some ideas about how to take advantage of the Bitcoin phenomenon.
Now, those who may not be all that familiar with Bitcoin, can you break it down a little bit about what is Bitcoin?
Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is really a revolutionary payment system. What it is it's a digital currency which is already being widely adopted globally. And you know, when I say widely adopted, the penetration has increased 100-fold in the last 12 months, but the penetration is still in its infancy, so the potential for it to expand even further around the world is immense. And so what we're doing is we realize that the trend is so heavily up, and so we really want to be an early adopter and really take advantage of those companies that have good ideas and realize how to take advantage of the space.
Well, why do you think the trend is escalating so quickly? What is the allure to Bitcoin?
There's countless allures to Bitcoin. I don't know how much time you have in this interview, but for example, one allure is the instantaneous nature of the transaction. If someone has a cousin in Algeria and they live in Canada and they want to send money to them through an international wire transfer or any other mechanism, they would have to go through multiple banking systems, have a delay of any number of days, and pay a large transaction fee in the process. Bitcoin makes it possible to send money to anyone in the world for an infinitesimally small transaction fee, if any, and they can have their money within minutes.
Now, seeing that it is global, I mean, the Canadian government, specifically the Canadian Revenue Agency, has recently announced that you will be taxed on Bitcoin transactions, and they don't even necessarily recognize it as a legitimate currency, the Canadian government. What are your thoughts on that? Will it eventually come around and become a little more mainstream?
Well, first of all, there's a bit of an irony. If they don't recognize it as legitimate currency, they feel like they can tax it. That doesn't actually add up. Secondly, we encourage the governments, if they want to get involved, to regulate it. We fully expect that. We're not advocating tax evasion or anything else. The fact is that Bitcoin transactions are anonymous in this sense, and there's all sorts of benefits to that. Having said that, we fully expect any appreciation and value of Bitcoin that you may obtain, or any transactions that occur. We want you to report them. I mean, if it wasn't reportable, then it's not going to be adopted by the world. The world requires some form of regulation, and as long as it's not hampering the actual implementation of the currency, that's fine. We got no problem with that.
Now, recently we just saw the world's first Bitcoin ATM in Vancouver. We've also had another one just pop up in Toronto. Tell us a little bit about how these ATMs work.
Well, those ATMs are actually not formed by us. There's another subset of Vancouver that do it, but my understanding is that they use a hand scanner to help you withdraw, and that the maximum right now you can withdraw is about $3,000 worth of Canadian currency. That's not really something that we've focused on, but that just gives you one example of a potential investment opportunity for our subsidiary Bitcoin Angel Capital. Bitcoin Angel Capital invests in startup companies that can take advantage of the Bitcoin space. I would argue an ATM for Bitcoin is just one example of those. And there's anything from Bitcoin wallets to Bitcoin exchanges. There's all sorts of ideas. Our first investment we've already made, and that is in a product called the Sovereign Exchange that we're rebranding, and we're going to call it the Bitcoin Sovereign Exchange. And what that does is it creates an easy method for people to exchange Bitcoin for silver bullion and gold bullion without having to go through the banking system or any other currency controls.
What would you say to the skeptics who may see this as somewhat of a Trojan horse, where the allure is to that you can be anonymous, you can go and do transactions without the knowledge of the government. Is it possible that this is being controlled, secret by hidden hand? Is that possible?
No. Firstly, the allure of not hiding from the government is not the point of Bitcoin. It's ease of use, and it's the fact that there are many, many, many people in the world who are not hiding from anything that can naturally benefit from the implementation of the currency. And let me give you an example. There's probably a farmer in Argentina right now who works like crazy. He works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And by the time he gets his paycheck, it's a lot more meager than he hopes it would be. And then he goes to the bank, and by the time he goes to the bank, because of the political situation in Argentina, his currency is inflated in value by 50%. So for that guy, he's kind of stuck. You know, he's got no way to get out of the country. If that gentleman takes his money, converts it to Bitcoin, that inflation doesn't happen. What's more, he can use it to buy products in other countries he may not have access to, and he's golden. So it's a very exciting movement, and I think if I had to say anything, I would say the beauty of our particular setup is that we're taking a lot of the heavily computer-oriented sophistication out of it, while having a public company with a share stock symbol. Anyone, no matter what their level of sophistication, but knows how to read a chart and sees that the trends are heavily up, can simply buy our stock, or if they're really interested in getting involved, they can buy our debenture, which is a private placement offering, which lets them get even more heavily involved and take the profits from there.
It's user-friendly, because sometimes it might be a little overwhelming for people.
It's extremely user-friendly, and what's more, we're a very open book, and so you can literally email myself as the director. I'm Mark Wettreich. I'm the VP of Administration. You can email the CEO, and I think you'll find that we're very responsive. You're not going to just hit a brick wall when you send us an email. So our website is greenbankcapitalinc.com. We're located on the CSE. Our symbol is GBC on the Canadian Stock Exchange, and I'd encourage anyone to stop by our booth, come see us at the show, and go from there.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks a lot.